And here is the cruel irony. The world will celebrate you loudly later for the very work it silently ignored while you were doing it. Do not despise the obscurity. Build powerfully inside it. The final lesson is the one most people are not yet ready to hear. Lesson 10. You are becoming someone the world has not seen yet. There is a version of you that does not yet fully exist. Not formed, not visible, not yet ready to be revealed. But it is being constructed right now in every silent morning, in every act of discipline when the easier path was available, in every moment you chose to feel the pain and keep walking anyway. The pressure of your solitude is not crushing you, it is compressing you. And compression is how ordinary things become extraordinary. Coal becomes diamond under pressure. Iron becomes steel inside fire. You are not the same person who entered your hardest season. You are becoming someone the world has not yet encountered, and that quiet, powerful rebirth is the most sacred thing happening in your life right now. Do you feel it beginning? So here you are. You have carried your ambition in silence through rooms where no one believed in you. You have shown up when the world did not notice. You have built without applause, without recognition, without a single hand reaching out to steady you through the storm. And you are still here. That is not nothing. That is absolutely everything. The Stoics did not wait for perfect circumstances before beginning the work of becoming. They understood that the universe gives you not what is comfortable, but what is necessary. And what you have been given is solitude, pressure, and silence. 3 of the most powerful tools ever placed in the hands of a human being. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal, devastating illness, and personal losses that would have broken most men, and still returned every single morning to his purpose, to his discipline, to himself. Not because life was kind, because he decided his character would not be shaped by what happened to him, but by what he chose to become through it. You are not behind. You are being refined. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared. The silence you have been living in is not emptiness. It is the sacred space where warriors are made. If this video reached something deep inside you, subscribe to this channel, because this community exists for those who are quietly becoming extraordinary while the world looks away. Drop a comment below and tell me, what has been your hardest silent battle? I want to hear from you. You were never meant to be understood by everyone. You were meant to become something that very few people in this world will ever have the courage to be. That is your path. Now walk it. There is a specific kind of pain that has no name. It is not the pain of failure, or heartbreak, or loss. It is quieter, heavier, and far more dangerous. It is the pain of being completely alone in your ambition. You wake up before sunrise and no one is cheering you on. You are building something in silence, carrying a vision that others cannot see. And some days the loneliness is so thick you can barely breathe through it. You look around and everyone seems to be moving in groups, celebrating together, succeeding together. And you are standing there on the edge of your own life, wondering if you are doing something wrong. Wondering if perhaps the universe has simply forgotten your name. But here is what nobody tells you. The people who eventually change their lives, the ones who build something real, something lasting, they almost always start completely alone. Not because loneliness is romantic or poetic, but because solitude is where the fire gets forged. Have you ever felt this way? Like you are fighting a war that nobody can see? And this is where everything changes, because what most people never realize is that being alone is not your weakness. It is your most powerful training ground. This video is not generic motivation. This is not a feel-good speech. This is a reckoning, a set of Stoic truths about how to get ahead when the crowd has turned away, when support has vanished, and when you are the only person who still believes in you. Before we begin, subscribe to the channel if you are silently rebuilding yourself while nobody notices. Let your transformation begin right here. Lesson 1. Solitude is not a prison, it is a forge. Most people run from silence. They fill every hour with noise, distraction, and shallow conversation because the quietness of their own mind terrifies them. Epictetus said that the person who cannot endure solitude cannot endure himself, and that is the first brutal truth. If you cannot sit alone with who you currently are, you will never become who you are meant to be. The warrior does not discover his identity in the crowd. He discovers it in the silence after everyone has left. Your loneliness right now is not punishment, it is preparation. The world is forging you to become self-sufficient, self-aware, and unmovable. Have you truly faced your own silence yet? Lesson 2. Stop waiting for permission to begin. There's a quiet devastation in waiting. Waiting for someone to believe in you. Waiting for conditions to improve. Waiting for someone to grant their blessing before you pursue what your soul demands. Most people waste years in this waiting room of their own making. Seneca wrote it plainly. Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life. Not next month. Not when circumstances align. Now. The man who gets ahead alone understands one fundamental truth. The world does not owe you a starting signal. You are the starting signal. Every morning you open your eyes is permission enough. Most people realize this far too late. And the next lesson is where it gets even harder. Lesson 3. Pain is information, not punishment. When everything falls apart, when relationships fracture, plans collapse, and your confidence erodes in the dark, the natural instinct is to believe you are being punished, that you are cursed, chosen for suffering, forgotten by the universe. But Marcus Aurelius wrote in private, "Journals never meant for anyone else to read that the obstacle is the way. Not around it, not over it, through it." The pain you are experiencing right now is designed to show you exactly where you are still weak, where you still need to grow, where you have been dishonest with yourself. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is the most brutally honest teacher you will ever have. Are you willing to learn from it? Lesson 4. Nobody is coming to save you. This one may sting deeply. The truth that separates those who merely survive from those who truly live. Nobody is coming. No mentor will arrive perfectly timed to rescue your momentum. No friend will suddenly appear to carry your burden. No opportunity will knock at the exact moment you need it most. This is not cynicism, this is liberation. Because the moment you stop waiting to be saved is the moment your real power begins to surface. Epictetus was born a slave and became one of the most powerful philosophical minds in history, not because someone opened his chains, but because he decided internally that no one could ever truly own him. Your decision to rise, alone, without applause, defines you. Few people are strong enough to accept this completely. Lesson 5. Silence is your competitive advantage. The world is addicted to announcement. Every plan is posted before it begins. Every goal is shared before a single step is taken. And in this culture of loud ambition, there is a rare and devastating power in those who say nothing and simply build. When you are alone, you are protected from a poison called external validation. You cannot seek approval from an audience that does not know you exist, and this forces you to develop something extraordinary, a true internal compass. Marcus Aurelius ran one of history's greatest empires, yet wrote his deepest truths only for himself. He never announced his transformation. He simply became. The silent builder always arrives further than the loudest voice in the room. Do you have the discipline to stay quiet and keep moving? Lesson 6. Discipline is the only friend that never leaves. Friendships drift. Support systems collapse. Families sometimes fail to understand your mission. But discipline, the ruthless, unromantic commitment to showing up when everything inside you screams to stop. Discipline never abandons you. Seneca wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he has not been permitted to prove himself." The man who chooses discipline in his loneliest moments builds a character so solid that nothing external can shake it. Not failure, not rejection, not the silence of an empty room at 2 a.m. where no one is watching. Discipline is the quiet agreement you make with your future self. I will build you, even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. And this next lesson may challenge everything you believe about strength. Lesson 7. The people who doubted. You are your fuel. There's a fire that burns differently than motivation or passion. It is the fire of being underestimated, dismissed, told silently or loudly that you are not enough. Most people let this fire destroy them. They become bitter, reactive, desperate to prove themselves in ways that compromise their dignity. But the Stoic path is different. You do not prove yourself to them. You prove yourself to the version of you who almost gave up. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice, not to win loudly, simply to become so grounded, so disciplined, so undeniably solid that their doubt grows completely irrelevant. Let them dismiss you. The storm they predicted is the same storm that will forge you." Have you been using your pain as fuel or as poison? Lesson 8. Comparison is the thief of your timeline. You look at someone your age who seems further ahead, better career, more recognition, a life that appears to be working, and something quiet and corrosive begins inside you. Not inspiration, envy. Epictetus warned that suffering begins the moment you measure your inner journey by someone else's outer appearance. You do not see their private battles, the anxiety behind their smile, the loneliness behind their connections. Every human being is walking a completely different path at a completely different pace. The Stoic does not race against others, he races against the man he was yesterday. And when you are alone, stripped of social comparison, you gain a rare gift, the clarity to define success entirely on your own terms. Which finish line are you actually running toward? Lesson 9. Every great thing was built in obscurity. Every empire you admire was invisible before it became undeniable. Every man you respect walked through years of being unseen, unrecognized, and completely unappreciated before the world finally acknowledged his worth. The journey you are on right now, the quiet one, the lonely one, the one without applause, this is exactly where all great things are born. Seneca wrote, "Retire into yourself as much as possible, not as escape, as construction." The years nobody is watching are the years that build the foundation everything else will stand upon.